Okay, welcome back to our discussion or this session of marriage and psychology, thinking beyond, just the things you see or thinking beyond the word you hear, but yeah. So it's a session that about marriage that we love to have to be married, and of course love to see that we have a successful marriage. And we have been focusing on um, talking about things that we don't pay attention to, and talking about those other pieces that we ignore in marriage, which is has to do with our emotions, our thoughts, and how we view what someone says, or how we should view it, and how we can connect with someone's understanding about what we are trying to say, or what we're saying. And so that's basically what we've been kind of focusing on, even as we look at issues, we look at our current problems that we go through in marriage. Because even as much as we like to enjoy our marriage, we would want to know what I do to enjoy my marriage. What do I do to kind of have the best the best marriage ever, or how to have a quality you know um lifetime with a spouse. So we said yes for over years, or since marriage was instituted by God. We have our own way of connecting, we have our own way of understanding marriage. But I was filled with this passion to kind of look at some other areas where we needed to kind of also give attention to, so that we can also add to that value we decided to bring into our lives, because it is not having the wife, and it's not having the husband, but it is how I would really enjoy this husband or enjoy this wife. It is not just getting the wealth that you have, you want to share with the wife, but it is how, and what does it take to enjoy this wealth that I have, the beauty that this man is bringing in, the beauty that this woman is bringing. So it's this is what really makes or informed this moment of discussion. And so, and of course, recently, we've been talking about effective way of communicating in our marriage, be it in a time of turmoil, or in a time of ups and downs. How do we get to connect, or when there's a problem, or when it is okay? How do we connect? What do we supposed to observe? It is not knowing that this is what I needed to say, so and you want to say it. So that was last week. We talked about one of the levels, because I said there are four different levels of effective communication. One is to show understanding, and second is to, skillfully express yourself. The other one is, having a skillful, discussion. And of course, the fourth level is, especially in solving problems, problem solving. How would you effectively, kind of solve a problem, that, or conflict, so to say. Let me kind of bring it to that, because conflict is inevitable. So, conflict, how do we solve those conflicts? So that's what really informed, because I said everything in marriage, kind of has connection with communication. Everything in marriage, comes down to marriage. You want something, you got to communicate. If something is wrong, you want to communicate. And so that's basically, why communication is very, very important in our marriage. So vital, because there's nothing. If you say mute in the home, now you find yourself kind of stranded, in a way. That's why when there's no communication, then definitely everything is shut down. It's just like, this time of a coronavirus, that the world was shut down. Everything was not nothing was moving. Nothing was moving. Economy, dwindling down. Everything was kind of not really moving. So in marriage, communication is the life wire. Is the life wire. So today, to kind of take one of the levels of effective communication. So that's why I would want us to look at having skillful discussion in marriage, having skillful discussion in a marriage. And of course, the question would be, okay, how can we have a skillful discussion in a marriage? That would be the question that, or the question that would really ring in our minds. So, and of course, discussion in a marriage that would avoid being psychologically or emotionally impacted has to be skillfully employed. And of course, most of the time we allow our emotions, to kind of guide our discussion, which ends in traumatic moments that could take us years, kind of to recover. So you can see, uh, what can impact our marriage sometimes, psychologically, that we struggle, we struggle. So, and that's why it's very, very important to kind of have such kind of understanding, because there are men who sometimes feel they know how to talk much, or there are women who feels, oh, I know how to talk. So you always want to be heard, or you always want to dominate, or you always want to prove, I know how to talk. So basically that's why, it calls for an understanding. It calls for kind of a talk to come to that, moment of understanding that it's not about the words that we throw out there. It's not about, you know raising your voice to someone, or it's not about yelling, to someone. No, but you want to talk in a more respective, in a more understanding, in a more, way that would draw the other person, to you, so that you understand each other, and you work with one another. And I'm going to give you some few examples, like in a discussion, sometimes when you want to say something, like a woman, if a woman is, or most men, think that they are so so and so so, or most men or most wives think or feel, or most fathers, or mothers, feel, instead of saying, I would like you to, you know, or I wish you would, or I would like it if you, so, kind of employing some kind of polite way of having that person, to kind of, connect with you, and sometimes, we try to kind of see it as a, oh, a mature woman, or a nice person, or a considerable, or a healthy. This is no, or or the right thing to do is. So you are kind of making more a kind of putting yourself, better than the other person. Excuse me. Instead of, I would like you to, know that I wish you would, or I would like if you can, still employing that, polite way of talking, uh, not like you always want to say this, you always want to do it this way, you always is like this, you always, you always, no. So having a skillful discussion, wouldn't want to employ, such a way. You can sometimes there are words like I can yeah, I get uncomfortable about doing this, or I expect that you will do this, in a way that would invite the person, to, your mind, is not, or trying to say, you said you would, or we would, instead of kind of, as I remember it, you said, or as I remember, we said, or we would, it kind of, a way of trying to, invite, invite, invite the person, not trying to prove to the person that, you are in charge or you are in control. That makes the person now to kind of, okay, now I'm going to put my own, proof, talk proof or listen and prove or whatever proof you might want to talk about. And before those mechanisms are employed, in a way, by that time, we've gone beyond how, or things have gone, beyond irreparable. So we don't want to get there. That's why I said, it will take years when it results to, traumatic moment. All you want to avoid is, you want to avoid something that would affect your mental capacity in a way of, to lower your functioning, or you want to avoid something that would take away, emotional impact, so that you don't, because now that thing will be over, the event will be over, but now you remain with the thoughts or the feelings, don't get, don't really leave you, because you keep reliving the feelings, you keep reliving the thoughts, so, and that's why when you do some things in the home, you're thinking about it. What if I do it this way? Now anxiety begins to creep in. I don't know how he's going to feel. I don't know how she's going to feel if I do this, so, and to avoid all of those things, that's why we want to look at how we can have a skillful discussion, and of course, a skillful discussion, there are a few things that I would quite, point out to us. Now, number one is, you got to agree with the other person on a time and a place to talk. Okay, don't just you're in the kitchen doing something, then you start to throw, words, and while probably you are in the kitchen and you're husband, and there's not going to be connection, there's not going to be understanding. No, there's not going to be understanding. You want to talk to make sure at least that person, respond back to you. So as a husband and wife, you want to set a time, you want to set a place. It could be, sometimes some people say, the old saying is that, allow it or leave when in the night, when you are going to go to bed, then talk about that. But here is the issue. Some people, when they get angry, they don't go to that room. No, they don't go to that room. So if they don't go to that room, then what are you going to do? That's why it's better to agree. Oh, okay, now in the night, before we go to bed, I want us to talk. Is it okay by you? Or I would like, for you, if you could give me some, or if we can, set a time, or if so, you want to make sure you invite the person, before that you can establish, some kind of understanding. So it's not just like saying, well, I know because I know the time, or maybe when he's going to be sitting there in the sitting room to watch his TV. I'm going to turn off the TV. Then whether he likes it or not, we have to talk. You have to agree. If you agree that, okay, now, whether honey or that day, because there's a problem, no more honey again, whichever name you're going to give him. So you just have to agree. If it is in the sitting room, yep, okay, agree that, is it okay by you if we sit at the table, at 9 p.m., or since you're not going to work tomorrow, I would wish, or I would like for us to, if you're that person that has a big house that has some facilities, like, a resting place behind the house, or where, I would like for us, if you would, have some time for us too, so you agree on a time, and of course of a place, that's one of it. Then of course, the second thing is, one person expresses thoughts, feelings, concerns, and desire. Start positively to help the other person understand you better. Because when that person is trying to talk, he's going to throw out, he's going to bring, his expression is going to come out with the way the person feels, and those emotions is going to kind of practically, be seen. So you want to pay attention to that, pay attention to what he is saying or she is saying. Okay, you want to make sure you grasp, those words. What did he say, or what she said? So you want to be putting those, and to the third level, which would be the other person shows understanding. Remember, because our first level that we talked about showing of understanding. So that is now when this person is expressing thoughts, feelings, concerns, and desires. Now the other person now shows understanding. By how? Now you are listening in a way that shows strong interest. Eye contact, your kind of some, throw some kind of and some kind of connection, to the person. So it's a way, try to experience the other person's view, say the other person's thoughts or feelings and concerns and desires as he put it, as you listen to it. So when you do that, doing that would now kind of help you to kind of connect, to kind of show that person that yes, you are there, and that makes person, kind of being cared for, being given that moment. And the fourth one is, from time to time, take turns and take more about the issue. Talk about the issue. Always show understanding before you take a turn. Okay, so now this person is talking, you are listening, you're kind of getting the concerns, the feelings, the thoughts, the emotion that is being thrown out there. You listen. Then of course you take turn, you take turn, and the next level is use expression skill. When you do not understand, have a question or have strong feelings. Of course, those questions are what we call sometimes, clarifying moment, clarifying questions, or is either you're clarifying a question, or is either you're trying to affirm, or is either you're trying to validate, this person. Because when there's clarification also, kind of gives strong, or signal that to that person that yes, you are really, you are engaging him, you are listening to him. And of course, some kind of affirmation will also kind of give that person, approval from you, that oh yeah, now she understands or he understands, how I'm feeling right now, and validating is like to say, oh, now I am accepting you. I'm also at fault at this very particular point. So it's my fault. So since it's my fault, so I now, that's why I'm listening. Then by the time you come back to him to kind of talk, that's a way, it's going to be understood. And the other thing is, talk until you understand what is most important to each of you. This is each person's core concerns. See, now when you take turns, Not like, this one is talking, this one is talking, this one. You will take hours and hours and hours. You will not achieve nothing. Nothing. It's going to be zero achievement, zero, completely. But you want to take turns, you want to take turns, you want to make sure at least that person gets what you're saying. That person, gets what you're trying to express, how he feels. And by that, you end it in a more matured way, in a more caring, in a more understanding. In because we think, when we try to excuse me, when we try to defend us, because each one of us is coming with a defensive mechanism. Well, I know what I'm going to say. When he comes or when she comes, I know what I'm going to say. I'm just allowing, leave her to come, leave her, just let her say that. It's not going to result to a fruitful discussion. It's not going to result, or end in a fruitful, understanding. And before you know, you have this time, at this very particular event that happened, it's not well taken care of. Now you kind of overlook it, you kind of escape it, okay? You kind of avoid it. So now before you know, you start to live in denial. So by the time you start to live in denial, then definitely, definitely it's going to continue to grow, because another event will come that now you are going to go the same route that you went before. Going to that route is going to end also in another denial. So before you know, you kind of live, so distance will begin to be created. You start to create distance, and that's what happens. That's what happens. So that's why, you always want to make sure that in whenever there's a need for you to talk, agree on a time, and a place, agree, because that's a starting point. The starting point is that you have agreed to meet at this time and at a particular place, and of course, showing of understanding. It's another thing that is very, very important. So that's it. Because I just had um uh, a client, a couple who are struggling also on how to bring up a child, and their daughter was not, kind of cooperating with both the two parents. So what we, in the end, found out was that when they were going to talk to this child, now this one is talking to the same person. So this daughter of theirs could not, or she could not really know who to listen to, because that shows to the daughter that this is how her parent, that's the pattern, or the way, their parents, would always talk when there's a problem. So that's her understanding. So in that way, that becomes a problem. She refused to kind of connect with any one of them. She refused to connect with any one of them. She rather decided to kind of, you know, mute herself. She muted herself. Nobody is really knowing what is going on with her. Nobody's really knowing. So in that sense, it made her and them kind of live in the same house as foreign people. So definitely, if we want to connect, we got to show understanding. Whether you're talking to your children, or whether you're talking as husband and wife, or even if there's a problem outside the home, effective discussion or skillful discussion is very, very important. You just need to employ exploit this. So that's why I said, you know, it's going beyond what we say, oh, communication in marriage, or you can say this so that the wife or the husband will be invited, but it's going beyond that. That's why, I just look at it that, yeah, sometimes we got to involve, how we think, how we feel, and how we throw our emotions, in some things. So that's why I decided to kind of title it, uh, marriage and psychology. And of course, it's something that, the replica church, have done, wonderfully well by, you know bringing every facet, current issues that we struggle with, in not just in the church, but outside there. Because when things are going well in our homes, then you should expect a better and a mature church. And when homes are sick, the church will be sick. When you have a healthy home, then you're going to have a healthy church. So so you're going to have a healthy society, a healthy community where you live in. So that's why these things are needed. So whatever we are talking here, don't look at it. Don't just limit it to the home alone, and don't think it's just for you. I just want you to know that it will affect your community, immediate community. It's going to affect the society, and it's going to affect the nation where you, because the truth is, you're going to be different. You're going to be different. It's going to be different. So marriage, it don't see marriage. I mean, don't limit marriage within the four corner. No, don't limit it within the four corner. Marriage is beyond the four corner. Marriage, don't limit marriage to the bed. Don't limit marriage to the kitchen. Don't limit marriage, of course, to the sitting room. And don't limit marriage to just, relationship within just, no. Whatever happened between the two people, it has a way of reflecting or kind of influencing, the rest of the surrounding you. So that's why, as if you're married and you have children, remember it's going to affect them too. Remember, if you don't have children, it's going to affect your community, or it's going to affect you, the larger family. So very, very important, to employ a skillful communication. So I want to kind of invite you or employ you to kind of uh, take a deep breath, and now have a rethink in how you talk, in your home. It's not about competing of grammar in a home. It's not about competing about voice. It's not about competing about being charismatic in your. No, it's more than that. It's not about that, but it's about you know what is in here, to see how it will be connected to the other person. Your heart need to be well, need to be well gotten by the other person. If your heart is not with it, that's why you say, when you talk about love, that is the heart. It's the heart. It's the heart. So if the heart is not connected, really, there's a problem. There's a problem. It's the heart. So that's why, skillful discussion, definitely, it's more than just talking, but it has its own skills that needed to be applied. There's skill that needed to apply, because all of us can talk, but it's not just talking. It's not just talking. So it's my prayer that some of you that are out there, wherever you're listening, or watching, it's my prayer that even if it's just one thing that you have learned from what we've been talking about, I pray that and hope it goes a long way, and in kind of adding a little, even if it's a drop, to the quality of your marriage. It's my hope and prayers. So last week, I did not start to tender an apology for not appearing last week because it has to do with the same thing I was talking. I mean, I'm talking about sorry because I needed to attend to, and I got to be practical because there was an issue that came about the same time that I was supposed to show up. I spent like hours trying to see how we can help that family also, get going, functioning and bring health, and bring life into that. So that's why we're here. So I pray that you understand on that, and we'll continue to see how we can work and learn as much as we can. So there are a lot of things to talk about when it comes to marriage. A lot. We can go on and on years. I cannot exhaust what we needed to talk. So next week I'm going to pick another a part of it so that and talk about it to get this done so that we can also jump into some other bothering issues in the marriage or some concerns in the marriage. But I hope that you understand that it is not about the sex you're looking for. It's not about the food that you cannot cook. It's not about the clothes that you cannot wash where there's no washer. It's not about uh, you know the house that you cannot tidy or keep clean. It's more than that. Marriage is more. Is beyond that. Marriage is beyond that. Marriage, like I said, is don't limit it within the four corners. You got to look at marriage, farther than that. So, but if you want to enjoy your marriage, pay attention to everything, everything, everything. Yeah. So, keep coming my way. Thank God for Replica for all that it's doing to reach out in different ways, and it's my prayer that we can reach as much families as we can in order to bring about a healthy home, a healthy church, healthy community, healthy society, and a healthy nation, where God will be happy with us. So thank you guys. I will see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye bye.